Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, the chairman of the Clark County Commission, Segerblom, is here. He's here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We are always pleased to welcome back to the program the chair of the Clark County Commission, Segerblom. Pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
Pleasure to be here.
So there was a story that was promoted across the state and around the country from ProPublica on the safety and potential safety issues with the boring company and their tunneling. What are your thoughts about this? And for those that may not know, this is the Elon Musk's company that's put tunnels underneath the convention center, has been successfully running conventioners backward and forward for the last few years, but it's expanding across Clark County. Your thoughts about any potential safety issues?
Well, there's two different things. Construction-wise, I think it's been remarkably safe. There's been some issues that ProPublica mentioned, and we always have to address those. But truthfully, when you build something that no one's ever seen before, you're going to run into issues. But the bigger issue is going to be, does it work, and who's going to run it? And it's interesting that we have Elon Musk, who's 100% owned by the Boring Company, running a private subway system under our most precious assets, the Strip. And we've really never seen it work, or how it works, or who has the key, or does he decide to wake up one day and say, oh, by the way, I don't like it, or I think I'm going to hold the city hostage or something. So I think there's some issues we need to think through as he starts to get bigger. But if it works, it's phenomenal, and if it doesn't cost us a nickel.
Right, because the Boring Company is paying for all the tunneling, right, and then it's the individual stations that are paid for either by, I guess at some point, UNLV, because there's going to be a station there, or the various gaming companies. And there's Westgate is about to open, and there's already one from Encore, and these are to the convention center. So it is moving along.
No, it is. But when it was originally sold, it was a closed loop underground. So it would be tough to have somebody drive in there and it'd be a terrace or something. Now the plan is to come out of the ground and drive to the airport, and then pick up people and then drive back and go underground. So that to me opens up a lot of questions as far as could the rogue Tesla get into that tunnel, and what could they do? So there's just things we need to make sure we think through, and again, it's going to be, hopefully, as each stage opens, we check it out and see how it works, and don't just commit to 60 miles before we know that 1 mile works.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you what is possibly an obvious question here. Is the taxi industry concerned about having Tesla, or the Boring Company, I should say, go all the way to the airport? And that would be the reason why you would have a gap between the airport and...
Well, when we originally tried to build the monorail, they fought that tooth and nail and won. But honestly, no one from Uber or Lyft or the taxi companies come to me and said, we need to be careful about this. They haven't expressed any fear for it. So I'm not sure if it's because it's going to be several years down the road, or they think it's going to be competition. But that is one of the issues, is going to be we have taxi cab and Uber, they employ a lot of people. These Teslas are going to be, at some point, going to be manned without people. So how is that going to impact the economy?
Yeah, I was driving in an Uber the other day that was a Tesla, and it's not fully autonomous, this particular car, but it's driver assisted. But the car was driving itself. On the screen, you could see all the vehicles that were to the side, you could see people, you could see everything. It was really quite remarkable. Have you ever gotten in a car like that?
I haven't. I'm actually going to ride in. It was a vehicle called Waymo this week. Same idea, but it's coming. And so maybe the taxi cab industry is already dead and buried. But those are the kind of things that we need to think through. And the other thing is, I don't want Tesla or a Board company to skim off the well-paying customers and then leave public transportation, the buses, for the poorest of the poor, because that's revenue we need. The Strip actually generates revenue, and if they take away that revenue, then it's going to cost us a ton more money, for poor people to have to work on the Strip to use a bus.
Okay, but let's be fair here. And yes, you're absolutely right. The Deuce, which is the bus that goes up and down the Strip, is the only route that really actually makes money, although not as much money as it used to make, right?
Right.
For the RTC. But the number of people visiting Las Vegas and the anticipated number in the future, you are going to need a lot more transportation systems, married together to be able to transport all these people, are you not?
I'm not sure, but again, the key is we need to make sure that the people that work on the Strip have a way to use public transportation. And that's a subsidy, but we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot and reduce that subsidy by this fancy thing where people that can afford it, take the Boring Company, and we're left with the poor people. Poor is probably a bad word, but the working people.
Yeah. Well, depends on what kind of work. If you go to New York City, everybody takes the subway. I mean, rich and poor. I mean, it's, or any major city in the world. Everybody takes public transportation, but it has to be on a regular basis, frequent transportation, so that, and reaching out into neighborhoods, which is so difficult to do in America because we're not set up for that kind of...
Absolutely. And again, that's where maybe instead of just having them focus on the Strip, which obviously is where the money is, have them go up and down Sahara, up and down Charleston, up and down Desert Inn, up and down Tropicana, where they could pick up people that work on the Strip.
Well, and you also have to have a place for people to park their cars, because so many of these neighborhoods, you couldn't walk in 100-degree weather from somebody's house to get to Charleston or Sahara. So you have to have a parking place for them to be able to park.
Well, they already are. I mean, those buses are, it's pretty sad when you look at the bus stops and the people waiting there to get on the bus, coming to or from work in 115-degree weather, and they're just a little bench with maybe a shade over it, but it's pretty sad.
Phil Ruffin in Fortune magazine did an interview, and he talked about being willing to sell Circus. Of course, he's always been a land guy, not just a casino guy, asking $5 billion for Circus. It's over 100 acres at the north end of the Strip. That may be a little high. Somebody else in the know said that probably more like about $2.5 billion. What kind of interest do you think there is for somebody to purchase that amount of land? It's not that far from the convention center, but then you look across the street at Fontainebleau, Resorts World. They're having issues at this point.
Well, I mean, they have issues, but they're making money. I mean, the reality is it's a gold mine. And again, somebody would have to come in with that kind of money, but they could put an NBA stadium, they could put a soccer stadium, they could build condominiums. I mean, when you have that much land, you can build a master plan that could have everything. So, I mean, I'm just so excited to think that that would be sold, because that was the problem. You know, when the A's tried to go up there at the north end of the strip, something fell through, and then they ended up down on the Tropicana side. But they were all set to go right across the street here, and that would have been fantastic. The north end of the strip needs an anchor tenant right now. We have everything else, but we just need one more anchor tenant. Could be the, Jackie Robinson property. We have great plans there. We don't have the financing yet, but they have a great plans, great stadium. So
this is the one between the Sahara and the Fontainebleau, and they've got signage up already.
Yeah, and the designer of the stadium's the same guy that designed Sci-Fi, or whatever it's called, in California, where the Clippers play. I mean, it's the designs are fantastic, but at the end of the day, you need somebody who's going to buy an NBA team. The NBA wants to come here, but you need a LeBron James or somebody, and then you need another $5 or $10 billion to build the thing. But I mean, we're so close, but I think everybody sees the north end of the strip as the place to be. So hopefully Phil follows through.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Lots more to talk about with Dick Segerblom after this timeout.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org. Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
The new year is bringing so much fun to Tamarack Casino with cash and free play drawings Thursdays and Saturdays, and $40,000 in grand finale giveaways Thursday, February 27th. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Dick Segerblom. He is the chair of the Clark County Commission. Got to ask you about Formula One. That's still going through the court process as far as the local restaurants and other businesses?
Yeah, we've been sued by several local businesses, and honestly, I can't really talk about it because I don't even know.
Sure.
But I mean, from my perspective, some of them have legitimate concerns. How we compensate them and who compensates them, I'm not sure. But when anytime you shut down a business for several weeks or months, that seems to me be beyond what normally government would do, and so there's got to be a way to address that.
We've had the second year of F1 now. You still have the ability as the commission to approve the permitting for the third year. Is that a done deal?
I think so. I think everyone agrees. We committed to 3 years for sure, so that's going to happen. But we also just approved yesterday. The paddock that's going to be a new entertainment center, so they're going to have actual ongoing events there during the year. So that'll hopefully help them pay for that, because they invested $300 million in that thing. So that was a positive for the strip.
Oh yeah, to say the least. And now the next part of this, though, is Steve Hill's talking about actually coming up with a contract for years 4 through 10. Is that something that at this point you're willing to look at?
Absolutely. I don't want to shut it down, but I do think at some point we need to look through it, see if it's nighttime or daytime, or maybe take it outside the city to something like that. Just consider the alternatives, because it is a huge impact on the citizens of Las Vegas, and my voters particularly, my constituents. And so I think we have to really analyze it. When we first did it sounded like, who could object to that? But as we saw what happened, then there's lots of questions that we can be answering, and ideally maybe more solutions.
Okay, do you have any thoughts on what some of those solutions could be?
Well, there's talk about, one of the problems is there's the bridge on Flamingo, because we need to have access during the race for emergency vehicles and stuff. But there's talk about there's a flood channel right there that we could build either under the flood channel or in the flood channel, so emergency vehicles could go under the track that way. And that would eliminate having to shut down Flamingo with that bridge, because that bridge has been a real nightmare.
Okay, and that would help all the businesses then, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Some of them, I mean, again, anytime you shut, there's so much construction that goes on during the process and putting the lights up. That's why I say let's look at maybe having it during the day, because just putting the lights up really shuts down the town for a couple of weeks.
Okay, on the other hand, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but when you're watching that on Netflix on a special, I mean, the lights of Las Vegas are what it's all about.
Exactly, and that's the whole point. It really, my perception, it's really more an advertisement about Las Vegas. So who should pay for that advertisement, or who's getting the benefit of that advertisement? And truthfully, the Strip is getting the benefit. Around the world, people say, oh, I got to go to Las Vegas. Well, maybe the casinos need to pay up to compensate the citizens of Las Vegas for what they're experiencing. And no one ever talks about that, but at the end of the day, we need to figure out a way to generate some revenue for the county, because we bust our butt with fire and police and public works and water and sewer and RTC. Everybody has to kill themselves to make that happen for 3 days, and maybe we ought to figure out a way to get some compensation back to at least.
So at this point, there is no reimbursement?
Well, I mean, like fire, they pay for the fire after the fact. But no, that's a huge problem, taking people out of fire stations and putting them down there. There's just a lot of things that there's not reimbursed, yeah.
A lot more to discuss on this. Let's take a break. We'll come back with Segerblom right after this timeout.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news, in between, and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
A new year brings new ways to win big with the $150,000 flurry of cash giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Thursday and Saturday prize drawings, including up to $5,000 in cash and up to $10,000 during the grand prize giveaways, only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Tick Segerblom. He is the chair of the Clark County Commission. So I've got to ask you a question. I was interviewing April Becker, who is your newly minted colleague, and she was talking about that prior to her coming on the commission, there was movement of money out of her district, pretty close to the tune of $10 million. How does that thing work, where money gets moved from one district to the other, that makes sense?
Well, truthfully, it's with the commissioner, and so we each got about $10 million. Ross, to his credit, was really focused on the history of Las Vegas, wanted to build a cultural center and commercial center, which is actually in my district, but was legitimately a countywide issue, which he bled for. So he felt that he'd been working on it for 4 years, and the money was there to be spent. But anyway, he just said, I want to spend it on that as opposed to Summerlin, where most of that district's in the city. So anyway, that's what happened. So we're going to try to. I just gave her $2 million to seed her through the new budget until the new budget cycle, and we'll try to work with her. But that's every commissioner, when they leave, they make sure they don't have any money left in the pot. That's part of what we do. And he just said, I would like to give this to it's not for any one district. It's really for the county. This cultural center is going to be fantastic.
It's got to be difficult when you come in as a brand new commissioner for anybody, including yourself when you first came in, because it's such a huge area and a huge population in each district, and each district has different needs. It's not just one thing.
No, absolutely, and it's not like I said when you show up, they say, "Oh, here's $10 million that your prior commissioner left." When we show up and there's $0 in the account, and over 4 years you accumulated. And then you try to spend it, but it's not like this is an aberration what happened with her district. It just was Ross wanted to spend it on countywide projects as opposed to within his district itself, but his district is going to benefit the most.
Let's talk about you. It seems only yesterday that we were talking about your last election campaign, and yet you've announced for re-election. This would be your third and final term.
Yes, and honestly, the Peter principles at work in my case, so I think this is going to be the last of me politically. Although,
really,
hopefully you'll call me up and
I'll still call you.
Okay, have me come and give my opinion. But I'm having the time of my life. As you know, I started at the White House 50 years ago, and now I've gone down each level, and I'm right at the pothole level, picking up the garbage, taking care of the stray cat, taking care of the homeless. But I can actually do something. I can pick up the phone and call somebody, and they'll do it, which I've never had that luxury before. So it's the job of a lifetime, and I love it so much. I hope that my constituents appreciate it, but it really is fantastic.
Let's talk about the legislature. As we record this on February 5th, the legislature just came into session. What are your desires from the legislature in terms of Clark County?
We have a few bills, but it's really do no harm. We don't want to end up having to. When I first got to the legislature, when they had the budget crisis in 2008, we had to sweep money from everywhere, including we swept it from the counties and the cities. So we need to make sure that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. I don't think our economy is going to collapse. But there's a lot of things that I did in the legislature that now looking back on it and from my county perspective, I say, wait a minute, that's. I wish I hadn't done that.
I'm sure there's a lot of politicians over the years who have said that.
But yeah, the reality is, we need to work together. A lot of the issues with homelessness and mental health and things they're tied together. So to the extent we can work together, I think we do work well together. It's a win-win for everybody. But money's always an issue. So they always think of us being rich. We think of them as being rich. The truth is, neither one of us are rich.
If you look at the scorecard for Joe Lombardo so far, what do you think?
Well, I would say this. I think he's very popular. But I'm not. I think the jury's still out as far as what he's been able to accomplish. The last session, I thought he was remarkably moderate, although he did veto more bills than anybody in history.
But that was almost a political game, right?
Well, I'm not sure it's a game, but I think the legislature was feeling its oats, and we've never had a a strong Democratic legislature.
Hang on, so the difference between feeling it and it's a game. Okay, fair enough.
But again, he signed some things that I thought were very progressive. So I think the proof's going to be in the pudding this time, because he's obviously looking at the primary in 2 years, actually 18 months, and making sure he keeps his base happy. But he also, given his background in law enforcement things, he understands that government is a necessary evil, and so I don't think he's going to try to gut the government, but we shall see.
Well, I think also that it's been very interesting to have somebody who headed up such a huge organization in Las Vegas with Metro, and understands dealing with unions, understands dealing with all these different groups, not just a conservative base.
Exactly. That's what I say. I mean, to the extent that that's his background, I think he'll work well. But he's never really had to balance a budget. We always just gave him the money, the city and the county. So he had the money there. Now he has to figure out what to do. I guess you saw that little bit of a budget scandal the first day there.
Yeah, but I mean that's something that's good. I mean, legally the budget has to be balanced, and it will be, but it's politics, and that's the way it goes. Take Segerblom, ladies and gentlemen. He's the chair of the Clark County Commission, and we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from the Ahern Hotel in Las Vegas. We'll see you on the next broadcast.